What's up guys, Roscoe here. Today we're talking LYNX versus the rest. What is the difference? Now, the LYNX has been in North America we're going on year 4, I think. I've been on it since the inception in North America, but what a lot of people don't understand is LYNX has been kind of dominating the market in Europe for a long time, and it has a deep racing heritage. So this sled has some specifics that people don't really understand until you ride them. If you've ridden one, what do you think, right? We have time now on this sled. Hopefully you've gotten the opportunity to ride it. The reason that I love LYNX, I'm that aggressive kind of middle ground rider where I like to kind of get sendy. I like to throw some little whips, but I also like to try to make you look like a fool in the trees. So this sled is for that aggressive rider. It is beefy, it is strong, it is durable. It loves to ride wheelies, which we all love to do. Under this sled, this is the new 146 or 3700. So we have 3700, 3900, and a 4200 in the LYNX platforms. And that's basically your 146, 154, 165. So 3 track lengths, naturally aspirated or turbo. We love turbos, so we're on the turbo every day essentially. The main differences in the LYNX is everywhere that is either touching the snow or you are contacting the sled is a little bit different. So the rider integration is different. Now, it does have a lot of similar characteristics to a Skidoo because it is part of the BRP family. So they share a lot of parts. Same motor, same like chassis, and I say that with like parentheses because if I don't want you to think that it's the same snowmobile because it does share a lot of these things. When you ride it, it does feel very different. Honestly speaking, to me, it feels like a middle ground between what a Skidoo feels like to ride and a Polaris a little bit, or a Cat falls in there as well. So it still has the non-vertical or more lay down steering like a Skidoo does, but in the technical terrain, that's where I love it the most. It has the Blade DS Plus ski. This thing's like a massive POW ski. It looks like 2 snowboards mounted on the front of your sled. And that ski is longer and flatter. It's a little bit more aggressive. I like the ski because I can attack terrain. You do get a little bit more steering input, but at high speeds into jumps and hits, I want more stability out of the ski. So I do like the Blade DS Plus. It is a big ski. You do have to get used to it a little bit, but if you ride it, I do like it. Now, this sled's obviously not stock. I built it today. As you can see, my shirt is ruined, but we have some little changes to this thing, but that's not what we're talking about. What the LYNX offers out of the box is an insane suspension package. So this is the shocks that you get. This is the rear shock out of the box. 46 millimeter piston, so it's absolutely massive, where you just don't get this with any other snowmobile. It's super burly and built to take hits. Also, basically infinitely adjustable. So you have your high speed, low speed compression, rebound adjustment. Also you have your spring adjustment. So this thing is absolutely beefy and it is rebuildable. You can make this thing whatever you want. You can talk to Bergmark about his suspension setup. It's like riding on bricks. And this is the front shock. 36 millimeter piston, coil over, 3-position adjustment on the front, which is really nice. So soft, medium, and firm with your rebound adjustment as well. They're beautiful. I have the new Fox Air on my setup this year. So that's something that we are continuing to work on, the setup that I like and valving. I actually haven't ridden it yet, so I'm really excited to ride that. The Fox stuff gives me a little bit of weight savings, and I've been an air shot guy for a long time and ridden Fox for a long time. So you have the different skis, you have insane shocks out of the box, the best factory shocks that you can buy on an OEM sled, hands down. And that's something that LYNX is super proud of, is like they suspend their sleds properly out of the box. Now, if you're a really aggressive rider, they might be valved a little bit too soft, or you need to turn up your compression. That's totally fine because they valve everything for that like 80% rider, right? If you're that like aggressive send everything rider, you might need to tune it up a little bit. You know what I mean? You need to kind of make your sled to you. Anybody who's an aggressive rider in any industry or any sport understands that, you know, you got to make it your own. The biggest difference is in the back, the rear skid in the track. So this comes with a 15 wide track. The 146 runs a 2.5-inch lug instead of a 3-inch lug. The 3900 and the 4200 come with a 3-inch track. It's 15 wide instead of 16 wide. Most of the Ski-Doos come with a 16 wide. Polaris runs a 15 wide. Honestly, I don't know what Cat runs these days. I think they're also 15 wide. I prefer a stiff 15 wide track, so no flex edge on that. And basically what the 15 wide allows me to do is get that sled underfoot. That's how I explain it. So when I do a hop over, a re-entry, I can slide that sled underneath my foot and it goes from edge to edge quicker on the actual rails of the track. Basically in the technical terrain, if you lose your edge side hilling and it's like you're gonna get high sided, you can give that 15 wide gas and pull it back into the hill. That's where I feel a big difference, especially if you're kind of like riding on the back. The Lynx loves to ride on the back. If you look at the skid, it is the PPS2 DS Plus. Lots of numbers and words and letters there for you to digest. But it basically comes from a racing heritage skid. The PPS skid was something that's been developed for a long time. The trail sleds have a PPS 3. So where the rear shock actually ties into the front control arm is much higher than kind of a traditional snowmobile skid. You'll see that that rear shock is about this long and it ties into almost the top of your front suspension arm on that skid. Now, what that allows is those shocks to move a little bit more independently. What I love about this is when you hit those square edge hard bumps, if you're familiar, sometimes it feels like your feet are gonna go through your ankles if you hit that front track shock. Sometimes the skid will actually bind on itself. The Lynx doesn't do that. It likes to ride on the back and it is buttery smooth through all of that chop. So not only am I going to be right there with you all day long in the trees, if you can hang, but I'm gonna beat you to the trees, I'm gonna beat you to the deep stuff because going down the trail is just as much fun as actually like riding and enjoying that deep pow. So off-trail jibs, rip and whoops, this thing destroys them. If you guys follow, Bergmark, that dude absolutely sends. All of those European guys ride this style that is super aggressive, a lot of air time, and that's why they love the Lynx, is it's kind of built for them. Lynx told me, they said, when we bring this thing to North America, we're not gonna change it for you North American riders. We're bringing our European sled that we love so much and putting it in your terrain because it is something that isn't offered currently. When you ride it, you definitely do feel the differences. So we've talked about the PPS skid, the DS Plus skis, suspension package offering. The styling is obviously different as well. We have our 3 headlight designs, so super bright headlights in Europe. Those guys are pretty far north and they ride a lot in the dark, especially in the early season. So lighting is a huge thing that those guys need. I think the styling is beautiful on this thing and it fits my riding style for sure. Now, I have a little bit lower handlebar setup. I have another video, sled setup, and kind of like what I do to my sled to make it work best for me. But that's essentially, in a nutshell, the differences on the Lynx. So wherever you are touching the sled in the snow, the Lynx is a little bit different and has these different handling characteristics. It is very predictable in the technical terrain, and that's what I love about it. It doesn't feel like a wet noodle. It holds its line. It rides on that rear skid a lot. That's something that I love, and I'm stoked on it. It's been a great sled for the last 4 years, and let me know what you guys think. If you've gotten to ride one, you should if you haven't. So that's all I got. Roscoe out. We'll see you guys next time.